5 coal-fired power plants were built alongside this hydro station. All of them have since been demolished, but the original hydro plant is still operating. The Hoot Lake hydroelectric plant was built in 1914, when the city of Fergus Falls was powered entirely by the Otter Tail River. As electricity demand quickly grew, 5 coal-fired steam generating units were constructed at Hoot Lake to supplement the hydro station. Hello, I'm Jason, and you're watching Steam, Electricity, and Propulsion. In this video, we'll explore the history of this World War I era power plant, how it was connected to a coal-fired power plant, and how it returned to operating solely as a hydroelectric facility. Before we start, I'd like to thank the Otter Tail Power Company for providing the pictures of the Hoot Lake power plant. Let's start with a tour of the hydro plant. Because this unit uses a horizontal configuration rather than the more common vertical design, the turbine and generator are fully visible. This layout allows us to clearly see the volute casing in the wicket gate mechanism. The turbine unit looks big, but the actual rotor is only a little bigger than the outlet pipes. The turbine can produce lots of power because the 25 psi water spins it at 360 RPM. At this speed, the generator can produce up to 670 kilowatts. The alternator contains 20 electromagnetic poles, generating 60 Hz alternating current at 2,400 volts. In this historic picture, you can see the original belt-driven centrifugal governor and exciter. Today, there's an electronic servo motor to control the wicket gates and the modern electronic exciter. On the control panel, we see 2 voltmeters on either side of the synchronoscope. When connecting to the grid, operators must match the generator's voltage to the system voltage. There are also frequency indicators, along with a tachometer showing generator speed. The RPM can fluctuate slightly as the unit responds to changes in grid frequency. Now let's look at pictures of the first coal-fired power plant on this site. Constructed in 1921, this station was directly connected to the hydroelectric station. The hydro turbine closest to the coal plant was installed around 1916 but was later removed. The steam turbine generator could generate up to 1.5 megawatts. Interestingly, it was visible from inside the hydro station. Coal was fed into the boiler by a single-cylinder steam engine-driven stoker. In the background, we can likely see a piston feedwater pump. In 1923, a twin unit was added on. By the late 1940s, something larger and more efficient was needed. So in 1948, a 7.5 megawatt steam turbine was added on to the older units and led to the old steam units being decommissioned. The turbine hall was built with lightly colored brick walls. The turbine and trim were painted a beautiful light green color, and there were large windows allowing natural light to fill the space. Old power plants were often like this, but nowadays most power plants don't have bricks and big windows. The large boiler had 4 Detroit Stoker units. On smaller units like this, pulverized coal was not needed. The boiler could produce 95,000 pounds per hour at a maximum of 500 psi. Draft was drawn through the boiler by this induced draft fan, while air was forced in with this fan. This condenser converted the turbine's exhaust steam back into water. These tubes are steam-powered air ejectors which maintain the vacuum in the condenser. Electric-driven feed pumps kept the boiler supplied with water. This large control panel was used to monitor and control boiler operations, a system made up of mechanical gauges and analog instruments. Today, most power plants rely on digital control systems. On the opposite wall was the turbine gauge panel. Here are some close-up views of the generator's exciter, which energized the electromagnetic rotor. In 1959, a larger pulverized coal power plant would be built on the site, marking a major leap in capacity. Just 5 years later, in 1964, a slightly larger unit was added. This newer generator was capable of 80 megawatts compared to the 60 megawatts of the older unit. What made these generators different was how they handled fuel. Here are the coal grinders on Unit 2. They had a unique design where their drive motors also drove a large blower fan. That fan pushed the coal dust into the boiler. Here you can see the coal hoppers on Unit 3 feeding coal into the pulverizers. And these pipes carried the powdered coal to the burners. In 2021, the power plant was shut down and later demolished. Not every historic power plant can be saved, but documenting them matters because once they are gone, pictures and videos are all that remain of the impressive technology that filled these turbine halls. Many people worked here. For decades, engineers and operators kept the power on for their communities. Back inside the hydroelectric facility, there is an abandoned locker room. Just 5 years ago, lots of men working around coal would shower here after their shifts. Outside the bathroom is a small workshop. Through this door is the original hydroelectric turbine, still running after all these years. While the 3 generations of coal plants are gone, the original hydro station continues to generate power just as it has for over a century.